Yo, what is going on, guys? J.Yumeko here, and today we're back with some more Katawa Shoujo. Man, last time we left off, we got introduced, well, not necessarily introduced, but we learned that Lily and Shizune definitely have a little bit more than a bad relationship with each other, and it seems to date back a little while, although they haven't told us much about it. We've also been conflicted about whether we should tell the other girls about our heart condition or not, and we've decided to take up a little bit of early morning jogging. So, we're going to pick up where we left off, and let's do this. Shoot, I need to go to load, don't I? Once again, it would appear that I'm not alone on my run. Emmy has apparently been here for some time. It looks like she's already worked up a good sweat. Just when the hell does she come down here anyway?
Oh, it's you! I'm surprised to see you again.
I forgot which voice I gave her. Why is that?
Well, not many people actually manage to come back for a second try.
She frowns, seemingly annoyed by a passing thought.
Like the rest of the track team, for instance. Still, it was only supposed to be on a volunteer basis, so it's not that big of a shock. And I guess it's pretty early in the morning.
I shrug, and suddenly it appears that she's forgotten what she was talking about. The frown disappears entirely, and she seems to snap back to her previous train of thought.
So, come on then.
What?
You're here to run again, right?
Well, yeah.
So come on.
I find myself suddenly grabbed and yanked onto the track. Things seem to be set on mirroring yesterday's run. That is, I seem to be struggling while Emmy moves with an effortlessness that I find enviable. It's incredibly bothersome to be so easily worn out. I know I should be patient, work towards things gradually, but it's difficult to say positive about this. We round the track and start on our second lap. Emmy seems to have grown impatient keeping pace with me and begins to pull away. This is where I gave out yesterday. Will I be able to do more? Okay, whoa. We're gonna take it easy. We do not want to push our luck here. Like, the guy said, just get a little in, and that's all we need to do. I let Emmy go on her own pace, and she doesn't show mercy, pulling half a lap ahead of me in an instant. I don't blame her. I mean, it's not as if I'm really putting up any sort of real fight out here, is it? Instead, I'm just running at a steady pace, which is what I should be doing, right? There's no need to go pushing my limits at this stage of the game. God, is this even worth it? As we finish the second lap, I break off again. Emmy keeps going, and it almost seems to me that she's disappointed. Well, that's stupid. I don't have anything to prove to her. Come to think of it, I've got nothing to prove to myself either. I'm just fine with the way I am. And what I'm not is a runner. This was probably a bad idea. Maybe there's something else I can do instead of this. Getting up this early sucks anyways. There's gotta be some other way to keep healthy. Walking, maybe. Nice afternoon walks. Yeah, that sounds good. Running isn't for me. Okay, whoa. Hold up. Alright, I'm gonna go back and see what happens when we choose the other option. If he's more enthusiastic about it, then I'm gonna keep at it. Because I'm liking Emmy. I don't wanna just not come here anymore. Let's see what happens when we go for it. What am I doing here? Am I really just gonna fold and let Emmy pull ahead? I speed up. The second lap's done quickly, and without even considering it, I keep going. Emmy looks back over her shoulder at me and grins.
Still going?
Wouldn't you want to think I'm out of shape? I wouldn't want you to think I'm out of shape. Emmy laughs without breaking her stride, no less, and speeds up even more. Well, if this is the way we're gonna play things. I increase my own pace as well. I can feel my lungs burning, and my legs are starting to question just what the hell I think I'm doing. Lactic acid screams in my muscles, but I close my ears. I can't let myself fall behind, because that would be a loss. The rational voice in my head inquires mildly just when we started playing a game. I'd answer it, but I'm having a lot of trouble thinking at present. She's so fast. How the hell does she keep it? It's like a string pulling at my chest. A choking feeling of narrowness and pain. I fucking knew this would happen. This is why I didn't do it. Before I can think of anything else, then oh shit, the track disappears from under my feet. I stumble, one hand shooting down to clutch at my chest, the other hitting the track to keep me from falling on my face. Emmy whirls around and her eyes widen.
Hisao!
She yells at me, sprinting from the other side of the track.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Just keep your breathing steady. Calm down. Don't panic. Don't panic.
Do you need me to get the nurse?
I close my eyes, shutting out the outside world. My heart struggles to regain its rhythm. Slowly, the pain in my chest begins to subside. Soon it's gone like nothing happened. It was nothing? No, something happened there. I open my eyes again and glance at a very worried Emmy. I think I'm fine. My voice sounds weird even to myself, oddly even and matter of fact. It makes Emmy frown.
I don't think you are.
She seems to come to a decision and nods to herself.
Right, you're coming with me. You gotta go see the nurse.
Emmy grabs my arm and drags me up. I feel a bit wobbly, but I refuse the shoulder Emmy offers for support. Honestly, I'm a little ashamed by my own weakness. I'd really rather not have Emmy concerned about me, but it seems to be too late. Heck, I'd really rather not have anyone concerned about my condition, though at this point, it seems to be too late for that as well. I'd like to be able to deal with the whole thing on my own, without being a bother to anyone else. While I'm wishing for things, I'd rather not have this condition in the first place.
Nurse!
Emmy crashes into his office without knocking, but it doesn't alarm the nurse in the least. Good morning, Sunshine. What's up? Sunshine? Anyway, he calmly sips his coffee from his mug, but lays it down after following Emmy's gaze to me looming in the doorway. Hisao, what brings you here?
We were running and he stumbled over and started grabbing at his chest, and I thought I'd come get you and make him...
Easy there, Emmy. Calm down. Hisao, what happened? I don't know. We were running and then my chest started hurting like that time before, but it went away after a few seconds. It was just a flutter or something. The nurse frowns as if to say that just a flutter is some kind of oxymoron. I didn't mean quite this when I suggested he get some exercise. You've got to be more careful, Hisao. I was being careful. Come to think of it, I just got into a race with a member of the track team. Doesn't seem as well reasoned as I thought it would. You just what? That is, I was racing Emmy. Emmy, is this true? Emmy fidgets, looking adorably contrite.
Well...
Finally, she can't seem to bring herself to say it aloud, and merely nods. The nurse sighs and rubs at his forehead with one hand tiredly. Emmy, you've got to be more sensitive to the limits of others. I don't know if he told you, but Hisao has a bad heart, and getting him to race you was incredibly irresponsible. Actually, I started it. The nurse is stunned by my statement. You what? We were just running, and Emmy started to pull away, and so I sped up to catch her. The nurse stares at the ceiling, mutters a prayer for patience to some god or another, and looks back down to the both of us. So you're both stupid. That's a comfort, I guess. Now come on, Hisao, I've got to make sure your heart's not going to explode or something. I dutifully obey and follow him to the adjacent room, where we ascertain that I am, in fact, not going to keel over and die. So, how does it feel? I don't know, nothing much. Tired, but it might just be from the exercise. You should stay here for a few hours and rest, and we'll see how you feel after that. I'm not going to object, so I lie on the infirmary bed. A thoroughly miserable Emmy comes in after getting an earful from the nurse in the other room. I couldn't hear what he said through the closed door, but I'm sure it was pleasantries. Oh, but I'm sure it wasn't pleasantries.
Look, I'm really sorry. I should have been more careful.
Hey, you didn't know. It's not your fault. She looks awfully down and sorry, and my reassurances don't do much to cheer her up.
I want to make it up to you.
Again with that decisive nod.
So you have to come to lunch with me. I'll bring it for you, okay? It's something really good.
I start with the you don't have to, but then shut up and just nod at her when I see her face.
Good. We meet on the roof.
We?
Yep, the weather's nice now, so the roof's a great spot for lunch, you know.
I see.
You'll come, right? You wouldn't deny me the chance to make it up to you?
Of course not.
Great, see you there.
I stay afloat somewhere between asleep and awake, feeling completely drained. Not only my body, but all of me is limp and paralyzed, apart from my senses. I swallow with difficulty and then try to lie as still as I can, which in this state is not a very hard thing to do. The nurse is shuffling around on the other side of the curtains he drew to give me privacy. I can see his shadow shifting about in the sunlight. He's opened the window of his office. It's windy outside. The clean white curtains flutter in the breeze in a heavy, lazy motion, like waves. Light sifts through them slowly, half absorbing into the fabric. I close my eyes. The breeze on my face feels like the soft fabric of the curtains. I listen to the sound of my heartbeat for a moment, trying to shut out the sound of the nurse tapping away on his computer, and my own heavy breathing. It's steady. Damn it, not even a week and I end up like this again. I really screwed up this time. I should have known better than to play half-baked sports star in front of a real one. And why did I try to act brave? That heart flutter was no big deal, even when it was obvious that it was. It was just a reflex, to push it away, to keep it inside. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't want Emmy to see it. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I have to be more careful, or I'll end up in the hospital again. Or worse. That's my final thought before I give into the tiredness. Okay. I feel like, personally, I think this is a bit more of an interesting route to take. So I'm going to stick with this one. I fell asleep. For how long? What time is it? I'm feeling a little lightheaded, but I keep blinking compulsively. Pushing the curtain aside, I squint my eyes against the unfiltered light pouring in from the window. The texture of the canvas feels nothing like the wind did before. The nurse looks up from his work, sitting exactly where he was before. How are you feeling? I can't really tell, so I don't answer anything. I'm feeling kind of groggy from falling asleep at such a weird time. Hopefully I don't look too weird. What time is it? Me croaking the question to gain some orientation. The nurse looking at his wristwatch before answering. Things seem to be happening in slow motion. 10:15. I try to think for a moment what that means, but I'm not really sure. You didn't answer my question, Hisao. Oh, fine. Climb down from that bed and then see how you're doing. Don't... I try to do exactly that, only to sway dizzily when I move too fast. The nurse moves to support me by an arm and sighs. Stand up too quickly, is what I was going to say. Just sit there, I'll check your pressure to make sure. My good intentions sure lasted for a long time. I shut up, embarrassed with myself, while the nurse gets busy with an old-fashioned contraption in my arm. After a couple of minutes, he puts it away, looking neither pleased nor unhappy. You're alright. Head stop spinning? Yeah. Good, and how are the contents doing? You didn't show very good judgment out there, Hisao. I swallow the retort I was going to make. It's what I was thinking myself, but hearing it stated by someone else makes me want to protest. What he's saying is not pleasant to hear. Doesn't make him any less right. No, sir. He nods, still looking as neutral as he was before. It would be easy to get angry with him if he said, told you so, or something, but he doesn't. I can try and help you keep your health, but ultimately the last call lies with you. Hopefully this little episode will be something that'll remind you of that. Here, a note from for your teacher, to avoid an interrogation. I take the slip of paper he's offering and then make my leave, as I can't think of anything else to say, nor even really want to. Stay out of trouble, you hear me? I don't think it was anything but a scare, but next time could be different. I hear ya. There's some way to get to the school building straight from the auxiliary building, but I'm not keen to find out and possibly get lost, so I go out from the exit that I know works. I stop at the stairs of the auxiliary building, deliberating for a moment between going to the dorms to get my books and stuff and going straight away to the class. The sun stings my eyes, so I head towards the dorms. The halls are quiet as the courtyard was. Naturally so since everyone is in class. I knock lightly at the door of 3-3 and push open the door when Muto calls from the other side. Sorry I'm late. Let me do that again. Sorry I'm late. 15 pairs of eyes turn to me. Good morning, Nakai. Muto seems to be somewhat confounded by my coming late, as if I interrupted his flow or something. Judging from the rambling lectures his classes tend to be, that might be the case. I pass him the note the nurse gave me. Muto takes it with a nod and reads it quickly. He lifts his eyebrow and gives me a kind of stern look, but doesn't say anything. Just nods solemnly again. I shrug and he gestures at me to run along, so I naturally do. The class goes on lazily. I think I'm starting to get into the rhythm of the school. I've stopped worrying about taking notes and being overly attentive. The first days I was pretty high-strung in class. Muto finished his lecture about electricity early, but continues without a pause about the festival. So, as you know, the festival's on the day after tomorrow. I hope everyone's projects are going to be successful this year. Have a good time, but also come Sunday, please keep the meaning of this festival in your minds.
Games and fried food!
Everyone bursts out in laughter, and so do I. Yes, thank you, Mikado. But what I meant was the remainder of his sentence is buried beneath the ring of the lunch bells, and everyone starts packing their things. Mutao deliberates for a moment, but since almost nobody seems to pay attention anymore, he gives up and sits down. Oh my gosh. It's crowded in the hallway, or as crowded as hallways in this school probably get. Most of the students seem to be heading down to the cafeteria. Normally, I'd join the flow and grab a lunch myself, but today is different. Today I've been invited to lunch on the roof. An odd location, but that's where I was told to go. Fortunately, I managed to find shelter from the storm in the lee of the classroom door. Eventually, the torrent subsides, and I step tentatively out into the hallway, only to be met by Emmy, who comes flouncing down the hallway like a cannonball.
Hey, Hisao! Great timing! I have super extra lunch today, as promised. Let's go upstairs.
The stairway to the roof is a little dilapidated, but it's clearly been used recently. At the top of the stairs is a door, complete with missing padlock. I wonder who the intrepid individual was who removed that lock. Emmy shoves the door open and steps beaming into the sunlight. Suddenly, a tall, dark stranger appears out of nowhere, standing imposingly in front of us. Emmy flinches back, almost falling back down the stairs.
Eek!
Hello. I already know who it is.
Yipes! You scared me, Rin.
Wait, isn't she... Hello. Noticing that Rin is speaking to me, Emmy looks curiously at me.
You two already know each other?
I look confusedly at Emmy. She's that friend of yours? Rin has turned her gaze towards the clouds drifting above the school.
I didn't know you knew this person, Emmy.
The awkward silence lasts only for a few seconds until Emmy lets out a tiny giggle, shrugging the coincidence off.
I invited Hayes out for lunch. If you know him, that's just better.
Oh, does this mean I don't get food? Or did you invite him for lunch without the lunch?
Neither. I have food for 3.
Nice thinking.
They walk to the other end of the roof while I stay at the clock tower for a while, taking in the atmosphere. There's nobody else here but us. I guess the roof is not as popular as it is in the other schools. A few rundown benches and tables are scattered around the edges, perhaps in an attempt to make the roof look less desolate. The small pebbles covering the roof rattle beneath our feet. I peek through the chain-link fence to take a look at the school grounds and beyond. Students are strolling in pairs and groups around the quadrangle at the cafeteria. A few delivery trucks are driving past the school towards the convenience store nearby. Somewhere a watchdog barks at a passerby. Somehow when I look towards the town center, the small town feel strikes me very, very strongly, almost palpably. The hectic lifestyle of big metropolises seems so far away and foreign here. Nobody has to run to catch a bus like their life depended on it or get their senses overloaded by the neon lights and traffic jams. I feel surprisingly optimistic about this new life of mine, looking at my new hometown, even if it's going to be mine for only one short year. Finding out about my illness and having to move away from home all came so suddenly, I haven't had time to think about how I feel about it. When I step out of the shadow of the clock tower to the open, I feel warmth touching my back. The sun shines from a perfectly clear, cerulean sky. A cool breeze sweeping over the rooftop makes me shiver, but only briefly. The wind carries the scent of trees and flowers, not smog and car exhaust like it used to, just a few weeks ago. Emmy settles on a bench with Rin in tow and produces one big and two small lunch boxes from her bag.
Come on, Hisao, what are you waiting for?
She's beckoning me to join them, making room on the already small bench. I seat myself on the corner of the bench to take as little space as possible. It's pretty cramped, but somehow all three of us fit on it. Impressive view? Emmy suppresses a giggle and places the lunchbox in front of Rin, and hands another one to me.
Here you go. Lunch is promised.
Homemade, no less. I'm impressed. Wow, this looks really good.
Thanks. I made it myself when I can.
Conversation dies off as I set about the business of feeding myself. Taking a few bites, I glance up and notice Rin deftly opening the lunchbox and popping a fork full of food into her mouth using only her feet. Even though I've seen it before, I can't help but be impressed at her dexterity. It's also a reminder of the sort of place I am in right now. Will I ever get used to such sights as this? I can't decide if getting used to such a thing would be a good thing or a bad thing either. Does getting used to this place mean that I'm giving up on being a normal person? Or does it just mean that I'm becoming more understanding about those around me? I'm distracted from my thoughts by the sight of Emmy tearing into her lunch as if it had insulted her ancestors. You seem pretty hungry. Emmy looks up, mouth half full, and swallows before nodding.
My morning run always works up an appetite. Which is great because then I burn through lunch pretty quickly. Helps me keep my girlish figure.
What would happen if you lose it? Would you become a man?
I very nearly choke on my lunch trying not to laugh.
It's a figure of speech.
Does your figure have to run in the mornings too?
Do you always talk like this?
Talk like what?
Like what?
I think that answers my question. Never mind. So, I struggle to think of small talk and settle on the obvious question. How'd you two meet? Rin seems content to let Amy answer this question.
Someone in the housing department thought that we'd complement each other well, so we were assigned rooms next to one another.
Compliment one another?
Like shoes in a suit.
Huh? Emmy giggles at my confusion.
Put us together and we've got all our limbs. Get it?
Ah.
So I started helping Rin get ready in the mornings, and that was that. I mean, you can't help someone get dressed every morning and not get along.
I see. Rin chooses this moment to interject.
I have trouble with shirts.
Right. That seems fairly obvious.
Really?
Kind of? This isn't helping, but at least Emmy seems to find the whole thing funny. That, combined with the fact that Rin is genuinely curious, makes me feel slightly better and yet confused. I mean, you've got no arms, so putting on a shirt seems like one of those things that would be difficult. You know what? I'm just gonna stop talking now. It'll save me a lot of trouble in the long run. Rin nods in what I suspect is meant to be a sage manner.
I see.
The conversation dies as I turn my attention back to my lunch. It's really quite good. Emmy finishes her lunch first and makes a contented noise.
Ah, that was so good!
As she busies herself with cleaning up, Rin speaks up.
I'm thirsty.
Oh, I almost forgot about that. Sorry.
With a flourish, she reaches into her bag and removes a trio of juice boxes. She tosses me one that appears to be cranberry juice, one to Rin that appears to be some kind of strawberry milk, complete with pink color scheme, and keeps an equally pink box of some kind of fruit punch for herself. Rin dexterously stabs her straw through the top of her box and begins to drink. I'm once again impressed by how flexible she is, but this time I keep my comment to myself. Somehow I don't think either Emmy or Rin are the sorts of people to think twice about the way they work around their particular disabilities. Rin especially so. Indeed, she gives off the impression of being entirely unaware that she's missing any limbs at all. Whether or not that's a conscious decision is another matter. I'm honestly not sure.
So Hisao, how do you like it up here?
I've definitely changed your voice a little. It's quite nice, actually. I like high places for the view. Thanks for inviting me up here. And for the lunch, too. Emmy grins a 1,000-watt grin, pleased by my response, I suppose.
No problem. Feel free to eat with us next time too, okay? I won't make you a lunch, but you can bring your own up here.
No lunch service? I don't know. Emmy looks mock offended.
Trying to take advantage of my good nature? The nerve!
She giggles.
Well, if that is your answer, I guess Ren and I will just have to keep eating lunch all alone.
I'm suddenly assaulted by the most heart-rending puppy dog eyes I've ever seen as Emmy pouts. Kidding, I was kidding. I'd love to eat lunch up here again. Good location, and the company's okay too. Emmy frowns a bit at my declaration of okay, but seems happy enough that I've accepted her invitation. I guess this makes us friends now. Or at least acquaintances. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs. God, this game has... Okay, can I turn on the SFX? Good lord. Okay. Because, God, that bell is just fucking... It is absolutely deafening. I'm not sure how this is gonna sound in the end product, but... Good lord, that bell is so loud. The lunch bell rings, signaling a return downstairs.
Ring, you didn't finish your lunch again!
I wasn't that hungry.
If you don't eat more, you're gonna fade away.
Ren shrugs as if this is an acceptable risk. Come on, we better get going. The three of us head down the stairs together. The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school. So I head to the library to return a couple of the books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books I'd brought into the return slot on the counter, Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her.
Sorry, Yuko. Didn't mean to startle you.
No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you?
It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks anyway. I suppose I'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. I wander down to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelf for anything that catches my eye. As I do, I look over to the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come out of it. Surprisingly, though, she's there, absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time and get back to finding reading material. After an indescribable amount of time spent pursuing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remain, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and dorms. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room to read the book I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I've never actually read the original book. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plot. I start thinking of myself as some kind of an Alice too, haplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole into this crippled wonderland. Shh. I get this is like our own thoughts, but that's a little harsh, man. That's a little blunt. Yep. Okay, that's a rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location and the overt way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It is like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite almost everyone being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet. I can hear my heartbeat thumping against the fabric of my shirt. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad like it has... For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like it has since that time in the forest with Iwanako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. I'm not taking my pills, dude. I'm not taking my pills. that's gonna end it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. Man, I don't know. Like, if I had to say who my favorite character was so far, right? I'd have to say probably Lily or Emmy. I think so far those are my two favorites. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. If you guys enjoyed, that'd be awesome if you could leave a like on the video. And if you want to see more videos like this, or if you want to stay up to date on this series, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get notified of when I upload a new video. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this time. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.